their selection. So it's going to be Karma and Pantheon taken away by Gen.G, and Ryze and Varus removed by LYON.
Yeah, Gen.G being consistently banning the Karma themselves, but a lot of these just general power picks we've seen. I think there's been a lot of differences between different regions and what the side selection's been. The LCK was always just like, you have side selection, we're going first pick. It was only later in series you'd sort of see second pick get more priority for most of the teams.
Well, we'll see if it continues to adapt as we get through the rest of first hand. Rumble, the final ban from Gen.G, trying to negate some of the power of big Dokes in that top lane. A player that on his day can challenge the best, but on his day can also struggle to have as much impact as he would like.
Yeah, and I think one of the picks that stands out to me, Orianna, still available, Vi, still available. So Nocturne gonna get taken out, so you won't have the Orianna Nocturne combo potential, but you could still secure the Orianna here for Chovy, or if you want to get a jungle pick for Canyon, the Vi is available. He's been an absolute menace on that. It's been very frequently banned in this situation, just generally in this tournament and in the LCK Cup as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a push towards that Vi. Instead, the Orianna is going to get locked in for Gen.G. Such a strong pick, generally in the mid lane. Doesn't have a huge amount of bad matchups, and later on, obviously, team fight pressure, zone control with the command attack and the shockwave just gives you so much ability to win out on those team fights. We'll see where the LYON want to go.
So I think denying the Vi definitely going to be important, and then it's, do you take something immediately to pair up with into the Orianna, or they're going to go for the Ashe. So I think Ashe, Vi could be a pretty strong rotation here. You save the Seraphine for that third pick. It does mean you have less flexibility because you have to kind of secure a support to go with the Ashe. We've seen that often, but we have seen sometimes like the Braum come through. If they go something like the Nautilus, there's the option for that. I know Duro has a really mean Blitzcrank, so that's definitely a threat that you might have if you do commit to the Ashe and the Seraphine, but instead, Inspired going for the Zhao. Another jungler, super high prioritized, but I think Canyon probably just goes towards the Vi then.
Jack will be happy though, because when Inspired played up against Gen.G, that's, you know, 18 months ago, different roster and different bot lane for Gen.G, it was on the Zhao that he was able to pick up one of his 2 wins. So, in Jack's mind, this game is basically already done.
And it looks like Gen.G toying with the idea of denying the Seraphine. I mean, Seraphine as well with the Ashe so strong, but also Enchanters with Zhao super powerful. We've seen, you know, years ago it's like Lulu, when Lulu was a mid laner, Lulu Zhao was super strong, but just buffing up when he gets in those fights has a lot of strength. I expect it's going to be the jungle here for Gen.G to match, to round things out, but we'll see if they have some different ideas.
I do still want to look for something like the Vi here. Her going in with an Encore on top of her does give you a lot of control over areas of the fight. Into the Zhao does trade relatively well into Vi early game, can knock her out of her Vault Breaker, and because of that, perhaps Gen.G have decided, okay, we're just going to put them all onto the dance floor in the Cataclysm and make them do the Foxtrot for us.
I mean, Jarvan Orianna, super strong combo, especially into an Ashe who's the mobile AD carry. And it looks like they're going to go for potentially the Ashe Lulu, so an Enchanter that pairs well with the Zhao. Not as strong a pairing with Ashe in terms of the lane, but still can buff it up pretty powerfully. But it does just make me think that, you know, the Cataclysm wombo combo that you have with the Seraphine Orianna, there's 2 great targets already I'm looking at in that bot lane.
Super low mobility bot lane already from LYON. We'll see if Canyon decides to path down there, maybe skipping a camp to get there a little bit earlier. We have seen some invades towards the blue side red buff as well early on, and then rotate, come back round through the Krug area to find early ganks towards bot lane. We're moving to the second set of bans. Ezreal taken away by LYON. They want to get rid of some of the poking and the prodding that Ruler can do on that pick. And Akali taken away by Gen.G.
Yeah, trimming out some of the mid lane picks available to Saint. I wonder if maybe like an Ahri ban comes through as well. You know, a pick we've seen, one of the few mid laners that wasn't sort of toned down on this patch. And obviously something that would be able to circumnavigate a lot of the engage that Gen.G does have available for LYON, just trimming down options for Ruler in this situation with the Ezreal being taken away. I think he still has a ton of tools. The Jhin, a lot of follow-up, and also a lot of laning power. I think Jhin, Seraphine into Ashe Lulu, you're going to have a bit of a tough time in the 2v2 if that did come through.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a struggle, especially with the Deadly Flourish combination with the beat drop coming out of Seraphine for that extra CC layering. And we'll see where Gen.G decides to go with their final ban, whether they want to just get Dhokla onto something perhaps he's a little bit less comfortable on, get rid of a tank for LYON. They have a wealth of options, and yeah, going to get rid of the Gnar It's good engage for Dhokla in that top lane and gives you follow-up on something like an Enchanted Crystal Arrow as well.
A pick he also had a ton of success on when he had that series up against Loud, you know, was a menace in the side lane. Also maybe indicates that Kiin could just be going towards like a Renekton pickup, especially he's going to have to blind in this situation. We often see Nah have a lot of success, but we know Dhokla is willing to bring out other range tops as kind of picks. Now, the Sylas, not the most fun time in lane. This is definitely a lane where Saint kind of has to survive it, but the ults that you can pick up here, like the Encore is just so good. Such a great one to be able to take away, especially with the added boost of having the AP ratios from a mid laner compared to a support.
Even stealing away things like the Cataclysm just to try and get onto that Gen.G backline, really be able to isolate someone out. And there is the Renekton for Kiin. Have to blind it with Dhokla having last pick for LYON, so no real surprises that we see something that is stock standard and relatively safe. The Nah being one of the true bullies for Renekton up towards that top side. And now Gen.G looking towards their AD carry. There's not a huge amount of backline threat yet from LYON, so something like the Cogmore could just stand back and deliver those auto attacks.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're leaning towards a hyper carry from what they're hovering. There's a lot of options available, but they actually switched up and go for the MF. I mean, you have the setup for it. This is kind of the composition that you think back to when you were, you know, in gold, and you're like, let's pick like a wombo combo composition.
It's just missing the Amumu.
Yeah, and this is honestly a bit of a look we've seen more for Gen.G this year compared to previous years. You know, they changed their coaching staff, they brought Ryu in, and I feel like last year was so much more finesse comps, like a bit harder to pilot, but it's Gen.G who make it work. They're so much more likely to pick like, oh, we just have strong team fight, press all the buttons, we win. And it really makes it hard to match them as a result when it gets to those 5v5s, which is so excellent at. We do see Dhokla pick up the Ksante though in the end, just to have a bit more frontline.
Yeah, I think at LYON, in terms of frontline, they have it. They've got a bit of pick as well with Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Sylas there for an Encore to get some CC in team fights, but I feel they're much more around pick rather than being able to have like really solid team fights, whereas Gen.G, it is a press Archon. It's the Bronzodia when we used to talk about it, right? If they can get towards that second dragon that we saw them use so well against JDG and then just win a team fight around that, after that point they'll have a stranglehold on the game.
I think my concern for LYON is the bottom mid matchup's pretty rough early on. Going to see a lot of prio afforded over to Gen.G there. And also when it comes to team fights, not as much damage on the side of LYON, especially when you're cutting through the shielding of the Orianna, of the Seraphine. It's going to be a bit of an issue. And if you get caught with a lot of melee champions in those big wombo combos, it's going to be tough. So I think maybe not giving themselves the easiest tools so far in this game, but we'll see what they're able to pull off.
I mean, Inspired talked a little bit about it in an interview. He said laning phase against Gen.G is always going to be hard. You have to try and be as even as possible and then find a team fight. And there's a little bit more chaos. There's a few more options to find picks around team fights. Perhaps we can win through that. But it is a gargantuan, mammoth task ahead of LYON right now, playing up against Gen.G. Undefeated so far in the tournament, only defeated twice across 2026. The lineup that made semi-finals of Worlds last year. Let's jump onto the Rift for the first game of day 4 here of First Stand. And we see both the junglers just meeting up on that top side river. No one's really going to find any deep vision at all.
Yeah, I don't see any interesting level 1s coming out. I feel like that maybe was also an angle. Especially when you have like the Ashe and the Sylas, if you get like an early stun level 1, and the slows from the Ashe could have been something to disrupt things a little bit.
Could be. Looks like Inspired is going to path up towards this top side. Wonder if perhaps he can try and punish Kiin a little bit on this Renekton. And this is going to be hard to really find too much purchase down towards the bottom side. And Kiin, in my mind, the best player this year for Gen.G. He's absolutely topping the charts, continues to impress.
Yeah, his numbers have been kind of crazy. His DPM was like outstripping most of the mid laners in the LCK. The only mid lane who had a higher DPM was Chovy.
Yeah.
So he was just doing so much work. And the thing is, he's not just a carry top laner, such a versatile player in what he can do. Very well-rounded. And live on patch 2606, check out Warbound Center. A portion of the skin's proceeds will be shared across the LoL eSports team, so you can support your favorite team with that.
Yeah. And perhaps have a better showing than Hans did on the Senna yesterday. Struggled into BLG.
It was a little tricky. Maybe needed a bit more damage in the composition.
Yeah,
you know?
perhaps. Gen.G have a litany, a slew of damage. Inspired, after clearing his bot side, is going to work his way up towards this mid lane. We talked about how low mobility some of LYON is. Well, Chovy also low mobility, has to flash away, and Chovy managing to escape that, as Gen.G have managed to escape losing much over the last little while. Their win streak now up to 9 series in the first 63 days of the year, as Kiin trades onto Dhokla, but won't be able to get enough damage now. Yeah,
they had a super long win streak last year in terms of series, in terms of time and the amount of series. Managed to get that one going for such a long time. It is daunting going up against Gen.G, but I feel like for LYON, you know, I have a smaller goal for them right now. So Berserker, we saw in the pre-show, he's played 9 games against Gen.G.
Might have to hold that.
Might have to hold that for a second. We'll see what Canyon's looking for here.
And on his way down towards the bottom lane, Duro has that passive built up. We'll look for the beat drop. Whimsy, flash forward, flash heal. Isles the target now for Gen.G. He has to flash away as well. All but one summoner burnt for the LYON bot lane, as Chovy and Saint trained in mid. Inspired's on his way across. Saint falling lower. Chovy doesn't have the mana for another command attack, and so will just back away, knowing his jungler is not in the area to protect him. Yeah, so showing some of the difficulties the Sylas can have in the lane, but yeah, Chovy not having the mana to follow through. But yeah, just going back to what I was saying, so Berserker's played 9 games against Gen.G in his career, and at no point in any of those games did they even manage to take a tier 2 turret. It's been a little tough, so we talked about maybe getting a game. My goal for LYON, you know, let's start at small, baby steps, tier 2 turret. That's what we're hoping for. That would be a career phase for Berserker against Gen.G. We'll see if we can make it to that point. I was dead.
Not a good start for that.
That is a bad start. Like, he oversteps a little bit, and like he manages to dodge the CC coming out of Gen.G, but it doesn't really matter because he just takes all the auto attacks. Now Inspired's coming down here, but with the ward in the tribush, Gen.G can very easily just begin to walk away. Still have the flash on Ruler and the heal on Duro, meaning that even if Inspired was there, there's a risk that they would lose out that 2v2.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough lane, right? We saw the denial of the Seraphine and then having the MF as well. It's a strong lane for Ruler Duro. Add the impact of losing your summoners to that gank. But I think Isles is overstepping a bit too much. And as you said when Inspired was talking about it, like, you have to survive lane. This is not the start you want if you want to survive lane.
Yeah, 1,000 gold at 4.5 minutes as Canyon and Inspired.
Oh, he's been spotted.
Pathways, flash forward from Inspired. Canyon coming in, flag and drag, lands the double knockup, and now Inspired with no flash needs to try and get out of bounds. He can trade back onto Canyon, but Canyon still holds onto his summoner. Flashes away, survives the trade. Saint dashing back in here onto Chovy. Saint does have a flash, so if he is really in a precarious spot, he can get out.
Going a little bit worse now for LYON in this situation. Don't think there's any other way to spin it. But trying to make the play there, and Canyon gets the spot onto Inspired before it comes in. And unfortunately, just for LYON, lands everything. And is successful in the counter-gank, so...
And then flashes out just before he dies.
Yeah, well, we can take stock. So bot lane, going pretty rough. Mid lane, going pretty rough. Dhokla has not died yet, but...
still pretty rough.
Yeah, is down in farm a good amount.
He's down 2 waves of farm, man. It is a struggle in the laning phase for LYON, and it would be a struggle in the laning phase for the majority of teams around the world. This is what Gen.G do so well. Yes. They make good teams look bad.
Yes. I do have a term for a game like this.
Okay.
It's called a roughy toughy.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because they're the underdogs, so it's a roughy toughy?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, nailed it.
Thought so.
Okay, well, Canyon's having a good start to this one already. Obviously made his impact felt early, and with that massive amount of buff prio, and Saint's health bar, I think, feels pretty comfortable to go for this early dragon. Also, a Chemtech dragon feels pretty great because it's not going to be a Chemtech soul, but also the shielding and healing. You have a lot of shielding. That 6%, you know, Canyon's got a shield, Chovy, Duro as well, even the healing from Kiin. It's actually a decent amount of value on that first dragon.
Should be able to get it.
Will be able to do much?
He doesn't have flash, so there's no blast cone for him to get in. So yeah, he puts a ward down, spots that the Drake's gone over to Gen.G, who now have a 2,000 gold lead 6.5 minutes into the game. And the evolution of Canyon, obviously a very storied player, but I think last year a few people would have looked at him as the weakest point of a still very good Gen.G.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But this year, he's really leveled up again.
I think the main thing was that last year Gen.G Canyon specifically felt less active, and it felt like Duro was kind of filling this role as like a second jungler, and he was doing a lot of, you know, moving around the map, ganking, and Canyon was a bit camp-focused, and at times it felt like that was maybe the weakness. They were still a very strong team. But I feel like now, this year, especially when there's more enchanters in the meta, Canyon has really been a big driving force, and we're seeing that already in this game, right? Already getting off 2 successful ganks, even though the bot lane gank didn't get a kill, it got all those summoners, that led to a kill later. Maybe another one.
Is probably dead to the bullet. Time flashes away. Double ultimates used from the Gen.G bot lane as they hit level 6 first. Aux is able to survive. The question is, can Berserker survive the damage that's going to come out? Can he stay underneath this tower, or Gen.G actually just going to look for a couple of plays? They will force Berserker back a little bit, but he'll still be able to get all of the farm.
Yeah, both sums been by Isles, not ideal, not really optimal, but Berserker's still there to pick up the farm, and he's not fallen too far behind in farm.
That's the mercy for LYON, right? Like, we talked about surviving laning phase. Saint in a bad matchup is, yes, he's 600 gold behind, but that's an amplifying tome and a refillable potion. Like, it is 600 gold, but it's nothing. It's not a K, you know, as Chovy is going to get absconded, abduct, Shockwave coming out. There's the polymorph from Aux as they look for the chase, but Duro's here in time, and even with the wild growth, Saint can't go any deeper. He's going to get forced low. As the chase continues with the shield from the help picks at Isles, Saint will be able to walk away.
Yeah, and I think a bit unfortunate as well for LYON because a lot was committed to that play, right? Both ults from the bot lane actually came through there, and we saw how the bot lane was struggling already, so it's going to be a bit harder for Berserker and Isles to match the 2v2 with those unavailable. Not having the wild growth when Isles doesn't have heal and flash. Definitely puts them in a bit of an uncomfortable spot, but I like the fact they are trying for these plays.
Yeah, you got to do something proactive, otherwise you are just going to keep bleeding out. And you can bleed out a little bit, but 2,500 gold at 9 minutes is quite a substantial amount of blood loss, man. You're exsanguinating at that point.
You're the medical expert. You can tell us how much blood loss is okay.
There aren't enough tourniquets in the world. So that will be the force back. 2.5 minutes before the next Drake. Gen.G. If a team fights them at second Drake, they tend to win the game off that team fight after hitting those first item spikes. See Black Cleaver already for Kiin.
They do just tend to win the game.
They do tend to win the game as well, okay? But second, they love fighting around second Drake, you know? It's definitely something I've seen them do at least once. But they've kind of, you know, they do everything in every game.
Oh, we do see a comment. LYON has a better mid-game than Gen.G. They're better. We'll see.
When is the mid-game is the question. Inspired's here. Double root coming out as Duro looks for a little bit of damage. Canyon on the flank as well. Lining up for that Cataclysm. Bullet time available. Encore 9 seconds away. And I wonder if that's why Gen.G held off. Now as Inspired walks away. Oh, Canyon's back! Inspired's on his way across, but with the Cataclysm down, Isles, the Encore, he doesn't want more from that. A bullet time as well forces Berserker's flash, and Isles falls for the second time this game.
I love how the Cataclysm was just used as a gap closer to get the Isles. You know, they know that Lulu has no summoners, that's the focus target. Not going so hot for LYON, but Gen.G looking great.
Yeah, Gen.G looking great. And this is the thing, like the games at the moment, you are just going to praise Gen.G because of how well they're playing, but they are making their opponents look so poor.
Yeah. You know what? I'm so used to praising Gen.G.
Yeah, you are?
Yeah, it's I have done a lot of practice at it.
I think all of us have over the last couple of years, you know? It's just been so consistently good and keeping the roster continue to level up. I was looking for a little bit of vision towards the grubs. Still 40 seconds on the Drake. Kiin trading with Dhokla. Not really too much going to happen there apart from the CS lead continuing to build up. I wonder what LYON's play is. Is it like try and survive the first item, give next Drake most likely? There's no real reason to force a fight around it when you don't have those first items.
You know what feels really bad? It's Chemtech Ocean, which... I mean, obviously it's situational, like Soul's always situational, but I feel like those are usually the worst 2 Souls. So the fact those are the first 2 dragons, I just have a feeling Gen.G it's going to be Hextech Soul, right? And they'll just feel so bad.
I think they'd like Infernal as well.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, Infernal with the burst that you have out of the combos.
Yeah, that'd go pretty well. So LYON definitely will at some point have to contest dragons. Not now, though. I think that was the right call. 4,000 gold deficit almost at 11.5 minutes. Rather large, rather substantial. I think, you know what's the craziest thing? Look at Duro's gold lead. Even the support has,
he got killed, man.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like even the support has a massive gold lead.
I mean, the other thing is, it's so much easier to get your World Atlas procs as a range support when your team is ahead. and pushing in, right? You can see Duro's already completed the Dreamcatcher, Dreammaker, Dreamy thing, whereas Isles is still sitting on the halfway
and
there.
I mean, also just Seraphine into Lulu,
well. Oh
it's so easy to proc in difference.
You chuck it out, you know? Beat drop, see if you can land a high note or something. As Canyon here covering Inspired, working his way down towards the bottom side. Duro is ratting for vision on a Seraphine. Now, this is not something we too commonly see. Ratting for vision, where supporters go deep like this, place a couple of wards, and then you often see it on a Bard or a Khan or sometimes an Alistar because you can just escape relatively easily. Seraphine is not the champion that you usually see going unaided into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, I think a lot of confidence in this game, and maybe that's how they catch them out, right? I think Pix is definitely the way. Not picks like Lulu's friend.
I assumed you were just lots of shields.
Yeah. Picking off members of Gen.G who are isolated. And it is the Hextech Soul as well. Oh. I just knew it'd be because that just really last nail in the coffin. If Gen.G can get that, which is looking likely. We'll see.
Likely. Inspired's going to be tracked through his entire path on this bottom side. Grub's an option for Gen.G. They'll start those up. Going to take all of the neutrals off the map. TP used by Dhokla to get towards the top lane, but no contest really able to materialize from LYON. So if you are LYON, if we're LYON in this point, you are miles behind. 4,000 gold. Gen.G, we know they're very good at closing games from this position. But how do we find a way back in?
I think it just comes down to, because right now there's no Mikhails, there's no cleanse. You have the Ashe Arrow. You have things like the Ksante, which are pretty good for isolating a target. I think if you take a 5v5, you're losing. If you find someone by themselves, that's the way into the game, and you just try and do that as much as possible. But the alternative conversation I want to raise is, so we've seen League of Legends change quite a bit over the years. More things added to it, right? What do you view a perfect game as?
So my general view is nothing on the scoreboard.
Okay,
right? So
if they got one grub...
If they got one grub, I think it is much harder to get a perfect game now than it used to be. I'll preface that, right? But if they get one grub, yes, I do think it wouldn't be a perfect game.
Even though like the 2 grubs is the one that gets the announcement.
No, but you've got something on the scoreboard. Right. I don't count plates because they're not on the scoreboard.
Okay.
Right?
Well, so far...
At the moment, yes, Gen.G are on track for a perfect game.
Track for a perfect game, okay. And so far, you know, we talked earlier about the no tier 2 towers for Berserker. They do need to make a bit more progress.
They haven't got a plate. LYON have yet to get a plate. 2 minutes on the next Drake.
I thought they'd have an easier chance with the crystalline overgrowth to set that up, but right now it looks like Gen.G setting up for a fight.
Isles does have flash and heal, is forced away, uses the wild growth to knock up Canyon. Inspired trying to jump on towards that backline. They get the abscond that does onto Duro as well, but he flashes away in the encore. Inspired diving in with the crescent guard. He'll take out Rule at the full of time. Not enough. Inspired going further. And LYON, as soon as we talk about the perfect game, they are having none of that. They find their first kill of the series.
Actually, a great engage that comes through. Duro even gets this beautiful flash ult out, but it's not enough. Ruler tries to channel the bullet time right in the face of Inspired. And the perfect game is ruined.
I was so sure after Duro got the flash out that LYON were just all going to die in that Cataclysm in the midst of it, but Inspired finding his mark. Summoners used across the board. We'll have another look at this because it is Canyon and Ruler and Duro stepping up looking for the fight.
I mean, Isles, this is a great wild growth to kind of disrupt. And then they go in, they go for the Ashe Arrow onto Duro. Oh, we're getting more of a fight here.
It's not more of a fight, it's a very quick pick. Very quick pick out of Gen.G.
Yeah, the redirect on the ult from Duro, really nice there, but just still not enough. And it's still very favored towards Gen.G. But LYON showing, with the right setup, right situation, they can get a kill.
Yep, and they did manage to do that. Tower going down for Gen.G, though, in the top lane. Chovy going to be the one, the recipient of that. Some plates for Saint down towards the bottom lane. LYON on the board in terms of plates as well. Still a 1.4k lead for Chovy, who is really popping off so far this first stand. I think start of the year, sometimes he was a little bit quieter, but obviously still Chovy.
I think the early stages of the LCK Cup, again, I feel like we put him to such a high standard that when he's playing at like a 8 out of 10, I'm like, okay, come on. But there was that series against G+ where he did like the 79k damage Aurora game. He was just insane. Now Chovy is Chovying, and Kiin is Keening.
Yeah, Kiin jumping onto Saint. And with Canyon coming across as well, Saint doesn't really have anywhere to go. Chovy will be there. Puts the Saint in a pew, says church is in session. and secures that kill on the enemy mid.
Yeah, able to find that pickup. I think Saint staying a little bit too long for those plates. Dhokla getting some alone time top, though. There's something there, at least.
It's also going to be third Drake. Soul point for Gen.G. Hex Soul at 17 minutes. That's a 22-minute Soul if they take it immediately. And LYON just can't really step in too easily. Inspired, perhaps looking for the Wind Becomes Lightning Audacious Charge just to get the smite. Goes in late, stunned immediately. Wildgoat gets a massive knockup, but Inspired's dead before he can do anything else. The Crescent Guard not even using with the TP behind from Dhokla. Can't find an avenue into the fight.
Yeah, the immediate CC before he gets the ult out, pretty devastating. But, you know, I think you have to go for the steal in that situation.
Yeah.
Another death for Inspired doesn't actually mean that much. It's like a little bit more gold for Gen.G. If you get the steal, even if the odds are low, gives you a lot of reprieve. So I can't hate that he went for the play.
No.
I think it was the right move. Just unfortunate how it panned out.
It's one of those you have to. And
Yeah.
you also kind of expect to not manage to do it as well. It's Gen.G. Their objective control, unsurprisingly, pretty good.
Yeah.
And they keep him away from the pit long enough to secure it. Now with a 5,000 gold lead, 18 minutes in, Gen.G can take their time with it. They've got Rift Herald as well, if they want to use that to try and get a charge in, maybe crack through the mid tier 1, just to open up the map a little bit more.
The thing I'm a little bit concerned about, because Dhokla's kept up in farm pretty well. Berserker, even with bot lane being a rough matchup, has kept up in farm. Mid lane, less so. There is, like, Chovy has a whole item. It's like a whole item vs Namtome right now. And I feel like on Sylas, you really, if you're weak, you'll just get exploded. Like, you're benefiting from being bulky enough to get rotations of abilities. That's just not going to happen if you're this 2,000 gold down in this situation.
Yeah, and there's a lot of damage as well on Gen.G's side. It's not like only the Orianna is damage. You also have Ruler, who already has the Bloodthirst to complete and building up towards possibly an Infinity Edge second here. If you go in, you are just going to get burst. There's the Rift Herald going down, TP coming out as well. Gen.G look to be investing on a second charge, maybe a tier 2. If they can get it, the charge at least will come in. And Ruler continues to chip away at the tower. Chovy's TP more for moral support than anything else.
I think having the backup of the team, because there were some flank wards, one of them has actually died, but this is a moment where LYON could potentially threaten, like, to come in. They don't have the TPs actually at the moment, but like if they could move in on the flanks and threaten. But Gen.G 5-man strong, really hard to approach.
Saint trying to mark Kiin, but Kiin has a 2-level lead over the enemy mid laner. 2.5 minutes on the next Drake. That's really what Gen.G is setting up for, just trying to get some vision in here, steal away as many camps as possible. Chovy is going to find Saint as they both walk towards this blue buff area, just keeping them away from the minions. This is also something, the amount of times I said this is something Gen.G do really well in this game, but something that Gen.G do that I think not a lot of people will notice is how willing they are to sacrifice a couple of minions for themselves to make sure the enemy loses a whole wave.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I won't actually farm this last shot. As Inspired is caught out, dives onto Ruler with the Crescent Guard. Encore coming across, Inspired flashes over it, but Ruler's healed and has the barrier. And even with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, Inspired can't get enough to follow up. He almost had it. But Gen.G immediately come to the defense of their AD carry.
Yeah, just so much healing coming out from Duro there. And now one of the problems is Inspired doesn't have his flash. So that next dragon fight, getting access to it going to be so much more difficult. And Gen.G, you know, enemy jungler down, don't even think of the prospect of going for Baron. They just don't even think there's no need. We have Hextech Soul in a minute and a half. We're just going to look towards that. In terms of the fight for the Soul, Ruler being down flash is something maybe LYON can look to capitalize on, but the problem is even if you win the fight, which is I don't think is really likely, but if you win the fight but they get Soul, you're still going to be in a really bad spot.
It's also like, how do you get onto Ruler without his flash? Because now he can play a little bit further back. You've got the arrow, you have an all-out, like flash all-out from Dhokla maybe, but he's never really going to be close enough for that. And then Inspired is usually the one that you'd be looking at. Can you get on towards this MF? But he no longer has that summoner.
I think with this comp from LYON, you don't want to be grouped together. Yeah. I'm definitely not into what Gen.G has. But ideally, if you can get some deeper wards and go just multiple angles, you have TPs, you have to commit everything to this fight. So just TP in, go for flanks, throw everything at Ruler, and you either win the fight, you get the dragon, or you lose the game. You're 7,000 gold down. You know, it's all or nothing at this point. I think what's nice is that even though it being a Hextech Soul is really, really, really bad, the Hex Gates actually really help with getting flanks off and getting good angles of approach. So We'll see if they're able to make use of those. Right now, they've got some shallow vision starting to get set up, but
some in the back of the pit, which is nice for them right now.
Yeah, but Gen.G are moving in to clear out what they can find.
Let's see if they spot the one just sitting in the back of the Dragon Pit there. Canyon on his way down. Dhokla a little bit isolated. Inspired did just finish his recall, but Dhokla will just be spotted with the Demacian standard.
That ward in the pit doesn't get spotted, actually, but
that's big.
That's it. That's it in the area, so a bit difficult to approach. You just see Dhokla
TP's to the mid lane, fighting for mid lane prior. Canyon going in with a flag and drag. Dhokla has that huge shield from the teleport. Whimsy and Charter Crystal. Canyon heals up with the Sundered Sky. Dragon strikes the wrong way. Kiin diving onto the backline. Crescent Guard coming out from his spiders. Kiin slices and dices away. Dhokla flashes in. Duro flashes out. Canyon going in with the Cataclysm. Berserker almost caught out. The Encore not hitting, but the bullet time does. Berserker taken down. Kiin still chasing off Inspired. Dhokla will get the kill onto Duro, but Ruler, Canyon, and Kiin basically untouched will chase them down. A 4-for-1 in Gen.G's favor.
They try to look for it, they try to get onto Canyon there, but just unable to cut through him. Dhokla takes out Duro, but it's a small consolation prize.
This is dead as well.
Oh no.
No, and tasted purple. And as you say, small consolation with the soul going over to Gen.G. Alongside it, the Baron begun by Ruler and Canyon.
Yeah. Well, it is a best of 5. There's more opportunities to get back in the series. I just think, yeah, so that's the MasterCard priceless moment of the game, securing the Hextech Soul. And I think at this point, you are looking towards game 2. It's not quite a 10,000 gold lead, but approaching on it. We'll get a replay of this fight, so they commit a lot to this Jarvan. Canyon honestly uses that Q in the wrong direction, doesn't really get anything from it, but he's just so bulky with the healing and shielding from Duro. And Dhokla ends up going for Duro, does actually take out the support, but in the meantime, Berserker dies to the bullet time. Chovy is there to take out Dhokla, and Ruler's just basically untouched.
Also, like, Kiin just burning the Crescent Guard at the start of the fight. She's like, okay, I'm standing on top of you, deal with me. And yeah, no real surprises. Gen.G pretty confident after
LYON
that.
don't look too shaken up about it, right? Good. They kind of understand the position they're in this game.
Oh, goodness, Inspired.
Yeah.
Flash about to come off cooldown, but still not up for him yet. Tried to dive onto Chovy, but Inspired dies very rapidly to Chovy and Ruler. Charter Crystal going down onto Canyon, but he's pretty damn tanky, even at only 2 items. Dhokla, the only one with a gold lead here on LYON. Can he maintain it? Goes in with the Path Maker, Encore lands onto 3, and Dhokla will be cut to ribbons by Gen.G. A charm coming onto Canyon as Saint falls, Isles follow suit, Berserker joins him in the body bags, and Gen.G will march down mid.
Yeah, that should be game, and we will be going over to game 2. I think in this one, Gen.G, a lot of power in lane, a lot of power in team fights, and I think the fact it was that Hextech Soul when they already had the Dragon stacked up early definitely did not help. Not exactly an unexpected outcome, but LYON in for a rough start in the series.
Yeah, rough start for LYON, strong start again for Gen.G. 17 kills to 3, a 12k lead at 25 minutes as they continue their undefeated streak here at first stand, going 1-0 up over LYON.
Yeah, tricky one. I think
not for Gen.G.
Well, not for Gen.G. Gen.G, smooth sailing, you know. And we have had other series in the tournament where, you know, game 1 was really rough, like the BLG, B&K FairX series, and you bounce back. I think a game like this, you just have to take it out your mind.
Yeah. Wipe it from your memory. We're going to hand it over to the analyst desk to remind you all, after you've wiped it, of exactly what happened.
Gen.G to Gen.G things is how I feel about this one.
Yeah, I want to wipe that from my memory.
Too bad, Raz. We need to talk about it for 4.5 minutes,
over the
sir.
game.
Didn't the people just saw that game? We don't need to. It just happened.
It's just pain. It's all it is pain. Hey, listen, that game was longer than the first game against JDG.
Yeah.
It's fine if Gen.G bullies everyone in the world, right?
I agree.
Anyway, player of the game, tricky choice for us. Both of y'all voted Canyon. He is going to be the player of the game as well. early game was completely dominant for them, and we had just have a reel of really where the game was decided, where we felt like it was decided, and it was in the early game, Emily.
Yeah, I think the big thing to me is, because it also could have gone to Chovy, right? But the big thing to me was that in so many of these situations, it's going to start in bot lane with Isles just stepping a little bit too far forward and then just dying for it. This is what I wanted to talk about though, right? Because Inspired thinks he sees an angle onto mid. They're trying to get Saint into a good position, knowing that he's going to have a tough time against Chovy. Canyon is already there, ends up killing Inspired, and here's another gank onto the bot side from Canyon.
And this one was really fun because, like, they cut out Zhao, who was basically hunting for a gank, and then pushed him off. He then walked towards his, like, the Jarvan walked towards his own control ward in Tri-Bush, and then just took the gank anyways. Like, that was really creative. Then being able to match Zhao after he got flash off Chovy. So he was basically everywhere and matching Inspired, which is what you expect out of him, but it was a masterclass here.
Yeah, and we have an update on Gen G's speedrun update.
Okay.
They have beaten Gen.G very quickly. They also did beat LYON very quickly. Game 1 with LYON was, I believe, we need to populate it here, but 23 minutes was their game 1 against Gen.G. This game was like 24, 25 minutes by the time they ended